Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Bragaton. Let's begin our adventure.
An excellent place for contemplation. One has the best view of the cathedral from here. Mesmerizing, wouldn't you say? An impeccable manifestation of the God Emperor's sublimity.
The man who has approached you is gazing down into the depths of the vast temple on one of the lower decks. The God Emperor, or the Emperor of Mankind. The God, the ruler, and the higher power to which humanity offers their prayers for aid and deliverance. Much to his chagrin. Most would be driven mad with despair if they knew the truth. Frankly, such excess can be tiring at times.
I believe there are those among us who share that sentiment. But such is our duty, is it not? To overcome base weaknesses and desires, so as to excel in our service to the God Emperor, the master of humanity.
The man gives you a sympathetic look. He shakes his head and turns to you.
Allow me to introduce myself. Conrad Voigtveer, Master of Whispers, in the employ of Her Ladyship Rogue Trader Theodora von Valencias. At your service. I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with you in person before.
Voigtveer bows his head and focuses his attention on you. So, Rogue Trader. A subject of the Imperium with a unique hereditary title. A Rogue Trader is tasked with exploring and exploiting the still uncharted regions of the galaxy for the benefit of mankind. Marshal Donnie Dawson von Adelgard.
My regards, Marshal. The Adeptus Arbites are famous for their unbending will and keen instinct for uncovering hidden webs of conspiracy and scheming. This is admittedly a priceless skill for someone destined for a path as special as yours.
I always figured it's probably pronounced Arbites, but I'm gonna keep saying Arbites. I've been saying that for 20 some odd years. I'm gonna continue saying it that way. Voigtveer smiles faintly. You're not sure if it is directed at you.
I will be frank with you. You may forget your past titles, no matter who gave them to you, or what their origins are. From the moment you and the other candidate were brought aboard this void ship, your fate changed. You now serve Lord Captain Theodora von Valencias, and carry the burden of an heir of this house. Henceforth, you share your dynastic name with Her Ladyship. Bear it with honor.
You say I'm one of the Rogue Trader's heirs, so there is another candidate.
There is. And you will meet him soon enough.
Voigtveer shrugs slightly. Why am I aboard this vessel? Why have I been brought here?
So that you may fulfill your blood duty. Whatever obligations you had before, they are henceforth null and void. By order of the Lord Captain, you have been requisitioned to serve the Rogue Trader, indeed blessed by the God Emperor. I see that you are shocked. Yes, you understood correctly. Lady Theodora's authority indeed supersedes that of those whom you obeyed before. The Lord Captain's power is so great that she is capable of performing unthinkable feats, such as changing the fate of a servant of the Imperium. Your fate.
The Imperium of Man. A galaxy-spanning interstellar human empire ruled by the living god who is known as the Emperor of Mankind. It spans 1,000,000 worlds. You have a curious title, Master of Whispers. What are your responsibilities?
To put it plainly, I am the head of the network of spies and informers who serve the interests of House von Valencius. I uncover weak links both among Lady Theodora's retinue and in the ranks of her rivals. I eliminate our vulnerabilities and exploit those of others.
Tell me about the one on whose ship I have found myself.
I would rather not discuss the Lord Captain behind her back, especially not on board her ship. No one knows better than I that whispers are wont to attract particularly close attention. Suffice it to say that her ladyship is the bearer of the sacred warrant of trade and a woman of immense power and entitlement. However privileged your position may be, I ask that you do not incur her anger by being disrespectful or obtuse. Lady Theodora despises both qualities.
Alpuffer laughs and shakes his head. Alright, the Warrant of Trade. The sacred relic document that affirms the preeminent rights of a rogue trader throughout the galaxy. And there are a couple of variations of the Warrant of Trade. The originals actually have a drop of the Emperor's blood on them, which makes it, there is no price you could put on it. And the Warrant of Trade that the Von Valencius dynasty has is from when the Emperor of Mankind was still not semi-dead. Lord Captain. A strange title for the Lady Theodora.
Such are the traditions of the Imperium. Lord Captain is the title that was established in the annals of the Lex Imperialis, at the time when the first rogue traders entered the Gold Emperor's service, and therefore, it is sacrosanct.
Lex Imperialis, something that my character is very familiar with. Codex of Imperium Laws. I assume you had some goal in mind when you decided to seek me out. Let us address it.
But of course, I have come to invite you to a meeting with Lady Theodora. I imagine you have many questions for your patroness, and I'm sure she has just as many questions for you. It is regrettable that you haven't yet had an opportunity to speak. It has been an arduous voyage thus far. The Lord Captain and Master Edelthrat von Valencius are conversing on the observation platform. Let us join them there.
A massive conference table, obviously crafted from real wood, a resource of incredible value. Board a void ship.
Always keep your eye on the price.
I show the data on the vid screen. Lay people interfering in the operation of the sacred mechanisms disturbs the machine's spirits. In the name of the Omnissiah, refrain from any further profane acts. Sacred mechanism has been interfered with without due reverence. The duration of the data processing cycle has tripled. Incomprehensible information is displayed on a large screen above the cogitators. You can make out references to unfamiliar systems and worlds among the numbers and logisticar symbols.
Keep your wits about you.
A candlelit altar with a copy of the 2348th volume of the Lex Imperialis, the Codex of the Sacred Laws of the Imperium. Whenever you hear me hesitate when I'm reading things, it's because I'm transitioning from up here to over here. Oh, yeah, let's go make my saves real quick. These are all from the other playthrough. I like to have 5 manual saves. In case there's any hiccups during my Let's Play.
One of the Fon Valencia's trophy rooms. Perhaps you would like to take a look around after your audience with the Lord Captain.
What's happening? Run! The servitors have gone berserk!
And the battle begins. When you ambush, you can't position your party members. If you engage in the fight, you can position your party around. I'm not getting much use here anyway.
On it. It's as good as done. I'll see to it.
I can scarcely believe
What's
this. On a day like
suspiciously
this.
poor timing for such an accident. Servitors malfunction on the officer's deck at exactly the same moment when the rogue trader and her heirs are gathered here. I have blocked all passages between the upper and lower sectors of the residential decks. If this is a deliberate attack, it should stop the culprits from advancing their plan.
Without taking his eyes off the bodies on the floor, Woodfarer removes the Vox caster from his belt and speaks a few quick orders into the device. Then he turns to you. The Vox caster is just a radio. A piece of technology used to communicate over short distances or to record sound. Spread out. No one is allowed to enter the premises. Stations.
I'm afraid I must remain here. For Lady Theodora's safety, I have to oversee the execution of these orders personally. I hope you will have no difficulty reaching the observation platform on your own. It is just at the end of this corridor.
The lines on Voidfarer's forehead soften, and his voice regains its usual courtesy. The Master of Whispers gives you a curt bow.
I always have a backup plan.
The wires in the servitor's head are still smoldering, but seem the cause of this malfunction was the short-circuiting of the motive force. Tarantula sentry gun, constructed with the blessing of the Adeptus Mechanicus using a standard template construct they manufactorums of Kiaba Gamma. So STCs, or standard template constructs, are extremely sought after by the Mechanicus, because they are essentially blueprints for lost technology. And it's a big deal if you find them. There was a couple of guardsmen that found an STC that just made an improved combat knife for Space Marines to use, and they were each gifted their own planet. A Lehman Russ battle tank, reclaimed and restored by the grace of the God Emperor, the first to breach the capital walls during the pacification of Vortez Dawn. Also, Lehman Russ, the Primarch of the Space Wolves, which will come up later in the game as well. This exhibit is unfinished. Another symbol of House von Valancius's valor will be displayed here at some point in the future.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
A violet alloy, which upon closer examination turns out to be a handcrafted object. Symbols carved with a primitive tool are visible on the surface. So having some of these alien artifacts or Xenos artifacts are normally considered heresy, but rogue traders have a lot of freedom to do whatever the heck they want. As windows look out into the next room, not outside the void ship, you cannot make out anything through the cloudy glass, only the weak light filtering through from that side. A black shard resembling obsidian. If you look closely, you can discern a strange, barely perceptible glow inside the artifact. A massive golden amalgam interspersed with sparkling particles. The stone on the pedestal is no doubt solid, but its surface shimmers and changes hue, as if someone has captured a piece of turbulent sea within the rock. A strange object that resembles sea coral. The pore surface is pitted, a sign that it has been underwater. A gray-green crystal with white veins. A low hum can be heard coming from the artifact. I see you raise your head again. Hand you over to the tech priest for servitorization, which is not a pleasant process. So typically servitors are prisoners or heretics. Well, not often heretics. And their punishment is become essentially lobotomized and turned into a cyborg, where they do all sorts of tasks. You can have combat servitors, you can have cleaning servitors, there's pleasure servitors in some cases. Just not a pleasant fate.
Is there money to be made?
The Grand Void Ship Temple occupies the entire space below the officer's deck and is lit by countless candles and lumens. Lumens are just lights. Costa Sourback. No initiative, no independent thought. Only the Omnissiah's commandments and adherence to protocols. The lifts carrying people around the decks move with a loud grinding noise. One way. It should both take me to the same place. Oh, here we go. A monument dedicated to the Von Valancius dynasty's acquisition of the Warrant of Trade. A symbol of the power and special role of the rogue trader in the service of the Imperium.
I always keep my options open.
That is simply irrational, Lady Theodora. Assimilation into the trade structure would be political and economic suicide. Practically an admission of heresy.
Says the man dressed in peculiar garb, his voice tight with tension. His face, half of which is covered by sin skin, is twisted in a grimace of displeasure and disbelief. Sin skin is one of the names, synthetic skin.
Then suggest an alternative that will satisfy me. I have described the situation. No worse than my seneschal could have done. Make a decision. What will you do with Ion 6, Edelthrad?
The tall, gray-haired woman pins him with her gaze, her cybernetic eye flashing crimson. Surveyed the room. Your first impression of Edelthrad, who appears to be about 30 years old, It's a parchment-like skin stretched over a tightly bundled mass of sinew, implants, and bone. The nervously twitching fingers, the face twisted by a slight tic, and the jerky movements are all signs of some illness or defect that's taken over his physical form. And implants, augmentations, mechanical or electronic cybernetic substitute for biological limbs or organs. In stark contrast to Ethelthred, Theodora von Valancia's features appear as if they were carved from marble, eternal and indestructible. Head raised high, proud posture, hands clasped casually behind her back. Everything seems to emphasize the difference in status between her and Ethelthred. Next to the two of them, you see two more men. One is a gray-haired officer of impeccable bearing who is studying the contents of his data slate. The other is a behemoth bristling with holsters and baldricks, containing all manner of weapons. A data slate is just a tablet. An electronic digital storage device similar to a tablet computer.
Our second candidate has joined us. Approach and give me your answer.
The dry female voice and the powerful feeling of being watched force you to look at Theodora. The rogue trader is looking straight at you, and her gaze, like herself, is predatory and oppressive.
Consider this hypothetical situation. Ion 6. A new world on the fringes of the Coronis expanse. High seismic activity, regular magma eruptions, metamorphic rock deposits, prospects for large-scale mining. The world is populated by natives who worship some heretical underworld spirits that protect those who offer them sacrifices. Flights of fancy, you might say, but attempts to install ore extractors have failed for the second time. The mining crew sent to the planet's surface simply vanished overnight. My question to you is, what would you do with this poisoned treasure?
My experience tells me that when wealth is involved, someone is trying to appropriate it. This looks like the actions of a criminal syndicate that's using a smokescreen of mysticism to steal the extractors. I'm ready to land on the planet with an assault squad and pass judgment on the thieves.
You have been hunting lawbreakers for so long, you see them everywhere now. Your expectation of finding a single specific threat on Ion 6 may leave you powerless in the face of other enemies who may not even be human.
I will not even deign to comment on this suggestion, if you can call it that.
Ethelthred puts on a veneer of utter exhaustion. I gave a straight answer to a simple question, which, as I understand, was still more than you could do, Ethelthred.
Insolent, ignorant upstart. How dare you?
The color drains from Ethelthred's face, which distorts his features further.
Ethelthred, I believe I gave you an assignment on this ship. Explain to me then why my senior congregator is still dawdling about the officer's deck, instead of proceeding to the middle decks to commence the inspection of the compartments in his purview.
Theodora's tone renders him silent.
I beg your forgiveness, Lady Theodora. Your presence has such a profound effect on me that I well forgot the time.
Ethelthred bows ceremoniously, and takes his leave without sparing you another look.
So, why are you here?
Theodora's gaze follows him as he leaves. Then she turns to you. Was it not you who sent for me?
You have ceded the opening that was offered to you in a woeful display of meekness. Admittedly, this tendency is equally strong in all who toil in the Emperor's service. Immutable hierarchy, absolute obedience, lickspittlery, compulsion to please. I value none of these things. From the moment my envoys came for you, the terms of your existence changed.
Theodora scoffs.
My name is Theodora von Valancius Massimo of Scaris. I am a rogue trader in the service of the God Emperor of humanity. and my rights and freedoms are vindicated by a most sacred relic. The warrant of trade, kept aboard this very vessel. Mine is the honor to venture into the darkness, beyond the Imperium, and carry humanity's light where powers wicked and heretical reign, and bow death and ruin to us all. It is my decision alone to determine the fate of whatever I find past the bounds of the explored void. Every world I discover, along with all there is to find thereon. Resources, people, riches, and mysteries, is mine by right. I command millions of lives, rule over numerous planets, and possess fortunes that no planetary governor or commander could dream of amassing. And you are one of those with Fon Valancius blood in their veins and a rightful claim to this inheritance when the hour comes.
One of. Does this mean there are other heirs?
Naturally. Some have yet to arrive on board, but you have had the pleasure of meeting one of them. Ethelthred may be somewhat disconcerted by the scale of the responsibilities that may potentially fall upon his shoulders. However, I have a good feeling about him as a candidate. Blood right alone is not enough to earn the high honor of becoming the bearer of a warrant of trade. Nonetheless, your abilities and talents may yet prove useful. If not for the role of Lord Captain, then for that of their closest ally. Alas, even those responsibilities can at times be too challenging for those who share your blood. Kunrad Voitvir served me for many years before he made his mistake.
Theodora sighs and looks away pensively for a brief moment. Did I hear you correctly? The Master of Whispers is related to you.
His kinship to me is most distant, as is yours. Nonetheless, he does bear the name Fon Valancius, even if he avoids using it publicly, and as such, strictly speaking, can be considered my heir. That door, however, is closed to him. Voitvir's performance in his current role is satisfactory. Or it used to be, at least.
If you're satisfied with Ethelthred, then what sense is there in having this conversation? Why are you wasting your time on me?
Impatience. I am rather fond of impatient people. They are not as quick to resign themselves to circumstance and more eager to show initiative. Even if I do choose Ethelthred as my successor, I will still require loyal advisors. The skills and knowledge you acquired in your former life may prove invaluable here, in the Coronis Expanse.
Theodora shakes her head.
You were granted the rank of Marshal of the Adeptus Arbites. That is more than just a title. It stands for decades of perilous service, dozens of verdicts handed down, and exemplary loyalty to the Imperium. Your knowledge of the law and the fear you are capable of instilling are a path toward maintaining order in the Protectorate. Furthermore, the sternness of our justice must be impressed not just upon the dynasty's subjects, but also upon the many competitors who covet our possessions. They too must be kept in line. Moreover, your courage has made you far more famous than you yourself probably realize. True feats of heroism will forever live on in the annals of the Imperium and bring honor to the Fon Valancius line.
Theodora smiles slightly, then courage. So decision consequences, a word of your great past deeds has traveled the entire Cronus Expanse and far beyond. Well, thank you for clarifying. May I ask my questions now?
I have some time before the navigator gives the signal to initiate the void ship's translation out of the warp, and my presence is required on the bridge.
The Vox affixed to Theodora's attire suddenly comes to life, but all you can hear is unintelligible noise. Theodora winces, shuts off the transmission, and gives you an imperious nod. Navigator, translation. What are these things that you speak of?
Sometimes I forget that people without direct access to a ship's bridge may not know the first thing about how a void ship travels between the stars.
Theodora shakes her head. I know what they are, obviously, but that's actually decent exposition.
Vessels such as this one are capable of leaving real space and traversing into the warp, an otherworldly dimension of cruel and unthinkable forces. By entering it under the protection of the Gellerfield, we shorten the route to our destination, crossing distances that would require hundreds of years in a matter of weeks instead. Sometimes in days or even hours. That is how humanity spread across the galaxy. That is how we were able to build the Imperium, which spans millions of stars.
An incident took place on the officer's deck. Some servitors went berserk and attacked the crew.
Is that so? Perhaps the technomats were careless during maintenance. Or it could be the warp playing tricks on us in spite of the Gellerfield. Or perhaps there is something to all the stories about the ship being possessed after all.
Theodora laughs nonchalantly.
Lady Theodora, for the God Emperor's sake, surely you do not intend to start repeating idle rumors spread about by uneducated riffraff.
The gray-haired officer gives the rogue trader a look of cautious disapproval.
Enough, Abelard. Such hearsay amuses me. Idira eagerly retells me everything she learns from the whispers of her unseen advisors. This ship is ancient. It has enough hidden nooks, malfunctioning cogitators, and unused compartments to make ignorant folks speak of specters dwelling inside the bulkheads and plotting against those who yet live.
She turns to you. And cogitators? Any type of digital computer in the Imperium of Man. Where is your ship headed?
The Rycad system, the domain of rogue trader Winterscale, one of my peers. And rivals. Besides me, 2 other rogue traders exist in the Coronis Expanse, and each of them possesses resources comparable to mine. Perhaps you will one day assist House von Valancius in surpassing both of them in affluence and splendor.
Alright, the Coronis Expanse, a scattered, poorly explored region on the frontier of the Imperium, full of fearsome Xenos, treasure, heathen worlds, and the echoes of ancient doom.
I set the course for Rycad on the demand for a very specific reason. Perhaps I shall yet apprise you of the purpose for this voyage, but now is not the time.
Theodora grimaces. He gives you a stern look, then shrugs. What are my current responsibilities?
Observe, learn, absorb. It will take time for you to find your bearings aboard this vessel and in your new position. Eventually, I will find a post that suits you as I did for Edelthrad. Until that time comes, consider yourself my aide.
I'm not gonna grovel. I have no more questions.
In that case, I shall head to... Disturbances reported on the adjacent decks. Seneschal, if the need arises, protect the new blood. It is possible that the chance to prove your worth may present itself sooner than you may have anticipated.
Theodora's Vox awakens once more. This time you pick up shouting. The Lord Captain freezes, listening to the Vox cast, then nods and draws her weapon. She glances at you. So I'm not going to be much use in this battle because I don't
Tried
have
and
my
tested tactics are the
preferred
best
weapons.
ones. Reduced to dust.
But we've got quite the
One
team
fewer
supporting
target.
us.
My faith strengthens me.
My primary goal is to not die.
Death to non-believers.
Such is the will of chaos.
Death to the weak.
Another enemy down.
Out of my way! I serve the ruinous powers!
I'll brush this off.
That's gonna hurt.
I've seen worse battles than this in my time. I took care of this one. Die.
Hey, that was my kill.
For now.
Mort, take a team with you and clear a path to the transport line. Do not let a single whoreson survive.
Theodora waves her hand in a commanding gesture.
Didn't bat an eye when that scum burst onto the deck, huh? Not bad. I have seen many an officer who panicked at the sight of combat on the upper decks. The false sense of security offered by their position makes them that much more vulnerable to the harsh realities of warp travel.
The rogue trader turns her eyes to you. She looks at the Vox in her hand. All you can hear is lifeless static. So the warp, it's a fun topic. An alternate dimension of pure energy and madness, existing as a mirror to real space, also known as the Immaterium, and real space is also known as the Materium. The Empyrean, the Aether, the Sea of Souls, or warp space. But what are your orders?
Mort has gone on ahead to clear a path for us. If you want to make yourself useful, go after him and see if the Arch-Militant requires aid. And be quick about it.
She breaks eye contact with you. Alright, well I'm going to call it here, and next time we will continue fighting back these heretics. Ablar, check the latest communication reports for the upper decks. Report from the engine seers. Request for cargo transfer. There. I see an alert about loss of communication with decks 8 and 12. I don't have any items. Still rocking this junky gun. I'm concerned about the disrupted communication with the Navigator's Sanctum. We should have already approached a translation point and proceeded to real space. Once we're done with the riot, I want to have a look at the Logisticars reports. We need to understand what happened on the decks during the warp jump, and the preparations preceding it. Alright, that's all caught up. Alright, so I'm going to call it here. Next time we'll explore this room and then continue. We'll go trying to meet up with Mort and continue putting down this riot. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.